right, man. Well, we are back this week. College football friends, great week of college football this week. I mean, every week is a great week. Let's be honest. I'm here. I'm Dave Schuman, Coach Schuman, with my esteemed guest Shane Stafford, the great. We're talking college football frenzy. That's the show, and we're glad to have you all joining us today. First of all, college football itself it's so interesting because there's anything can happen now, literally anything, and I think that has made it for some really, really interesting things. But among the world where anybody can possibly win, it's only the elite teams that are in one category, and then there's just shocks and surprises and the second level. So one of the big games from this weekend, which I think we'll break down first, was Oregon, Ohio State, which was just an unbelievable football game. I don't know if you got to watch it at all, but it was an unbelievable football game. And what I thought was so unbelievable about it was very simply the fact that it seemed like near the end of the game, like whatever team was going to have the ball last was going to have a chance to win that game. And I think that was almost what happened until the end. Sure. And the real interesting thing was, they asked Dan Lanning about, did you plan? So you saw what happened where they had the 12 men on the field or legal substitution thing. They ran a play 6 seconds. It got ran off the clock. It was an incomplete pass. But it ate 6 seconds off the clock. And they asked Dan Lanning about it, and he basically said, we plan for all situations. Some situations in college football don't happen very often.
Sure.
But we plan for all situations, basically alluding to the fact that, that's kind of in our wheelhouse if we need to steal some time or something like that. What did you think about that whole that game and that situation?
Honestly, it could have happened accidentally. It could have happened on purpose. Obviously, we're not in the locker room, but Dave, I'm going to tell you this. There are times where I know when, coaching-wise, at the collegiate level, you have to prepare these young men for every situation. And, the Thursday or the Friday, usually it would be a Thursday, and then we'd walk through on Friday. But the Thursday, we would go through some situations, and then the Friday, we'd walk through those situations. I think the fact that they were able to do that and make sure that the kids had their heads on straight, that says a lot for the coaching staff all working together and the kids locking in, because a lot of times I've noticed kids don't lock in. They think it's like time for the game and the walkthroughs, it's a time to BS and it's not a time to focus. Not now. And I thought it was a great mistake, if you will, that allowed them to give them a chance and knock some time off and whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it did allow them that amazing chance, and I think that the unique aspect of the whole entire situation, I never even realized that that could be a thing
Weapon?
to do. Yeah, I mean, like, wow. Like, one of the things we used to practice in high school, and they had this rule. I don't know if, I think college and maybe I don't know if the pros have it too.
Yeah.
Basically, at the end of the game, if you're getting the ball and the other team is punting, okay, and the game ends, but you call a fair catch. If they punt it and you call a fair catch, you get a free kick. So let's say we used to practice this. Game's ending. Team, like, let's say there's 3 seconds left. Team decides they're going to punt the ball. Okay, and they're backed up. They punt the ball. You fair catch it. And let's say you caught it on like the 25 or 30 yard line. they place it right there, and it's a free kick.
Yep.
Where you kick an extra point. I mean, a field goal
Yep.
without them rushing, and you could get the 3 points.
Sure. Exactly. And that's a great example, Dave. And I'm almost positive that they did practice this scenario. Because if you don't, your kids are going to be like, you can tell by what the kids' reactions are, if they do react in a certain way and say, what's going on, throwing their hands up. And you know how when kids are confused, they just turn their heads and they go crazy and all that kind of stuff. They didn't seem to have that kind of mentality. So to me, I feel like this was rehearsed in practice, or at least at some point during their training camp or whatever. But I truly feel like this was some kind of coaching that took place and actually came to fruition, man. I'm telling you, without that, I don't know if they get the chance to win, man. Those are precious seconds at the end of the game, especially this game. Man, that was awesome by them.
That is an amazing scenario at the end of the game. And then my other thing is this: Ryan Day, did you play against him when he was at he might have been younger.
I think he was a little younger than I am. But yeah, when he was at UNH, you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if he was. No, he would have been playing against. I don't even recall him, to be honest. That's one of those guys like, who is he? Oh, that's who he is.
You're like, oh yeah.
I
played against
that guy.
That guy right there.
There you are. Do I know you? No, but there you are.
But there you are.
Got to give an old school quote to
that. That is hilarious. Yeah. It's interesting because he played. Was Chip Kelly there at New Hampshire when you were there?
Chip was not there either. No, he was after. He coached.
They were
there.
after. So these guys were after.
Yeah, I played with a guy in Orlando with the Predators, arena football, that played, I want to say, against Chip Kelly. And he's the one that changed that whole offense up there. Remember, UNH always used to run the ball 40, 50 times.
Right. That's what I remember. Yeah.
But yeah, Chip came in and started doing his own thing. But I'm telling you, man, it's unfortunate. There's so many things, and I know I text you after the game talking about that and how that game should have been over prior to. Like it was a great play call by Oregon, and I don't want to, take anything away from where we're going with this, but I'd like to dive in deeper about one of those third, fourth down plays that were made, but. Yeah, coaching has gone to a whole nother level, and I think it's starting to get appreciated because, in my opinion, Dave, camps and combines like you have done with the Schuman sports and all that stuff, man, way back in the day, these kids now are starting to understand football at a higher level by the time they get to college. And it's allowing coaches to really divulge and get in deeper from a standpoint of implementing plays and implementing concepts and helping these kids understand concepts. And now that these kids are making money, I think they're even more interested in being a part of it.
Well, I think there's no doubt about it. I think what's also really interesting is that they the level, I wasn't sure if with NIL, if the interest in the game would change. I feel like the interest has gone through the roof. So
Yes.
I feel like it's continued to grow. And I think that part is interesting because, gambling combined with NIL, combined with the transfer portal is like the perfect storm.
Yeah, you're waiting for it to explode, man.
I mean, it's crazy.
dude, it's almost like are we, because we're allowing these things to be legal, that people aren't going to fall for the okey doke, and being now that these kids are getting paid some cheese, a lot of cheese at that, that they're not going to buy into getting bought out by somebody like they used to in the old days, just to make a buck or two here and there. That's a whole nother topic.
That's a good point.
You
Yeah,
know,
I'm not sure. Oh, I'm not sure how much that. Well, it could be an issue though, if you think about it. If you're not
absolutely.
getting paid, you know what I'm saying? Like the top end players are
Yeah.
all getting paid, but what if you're one of the players that's not getting paid? Is there an incentive to? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but there's always been that though, Dave. Like, honestly, you know that as well as I do. Like, that's always been there. I don't even want to go down that lane, because I like to think that the fact that these players have an opportunity to get paid, that they're and I'm going to say this too. I think the character of these young men nowadays, I truly feel it is a lot different. We're getting kids now that they're not always from the hood. They're not always from no money now. And if they don't have any money and they're worth a salt, they get money. So there's a lot of things that go into this, man. Like, we can dive deep into this stuff, bro. But this Ohio State Oregon game, goes down as like one of the classics. I know the game, the play that I text you, man. It's a staple in everybody's offense, and I just have to talk about this because it was a hell of a play call at the exact right time. I think it was like what, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, something like that. And it allowed the sticks to get moved. And all it is a bunch of rub routes and a spot route sitting over the ball at like 10 yards. And then you're trying to rub and you get them in, because most of the time, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, what defense are you typically going to be in? Man to man, typically.
Right.
And so they try and get the running back on that little flare type of deal down the sideline. That's exactly what they did. And that's when I text you. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that they didn't expect this in the formation they were in. Now, they did a good job getting in that formation and shifting a little bit here and there, doing some things. But it was an awesome game to watch, man. And that's why college football now, to your point, what you were saying, Shu, is, dude, you don't know who's going to win because everybody has a playmaker now. Somebody's paying somebody to get a playmaker, and it's all legal.
There's no doubt. Everybody has a playmaker, and it's like and multiple playmakers. And it's college football has become it's the minor leagues, and that's what makes it exciting. And I think that it's going to be, as we go on, it's just going to become more and more like that. You know what I mean? So it's just, I don't know, but that's what makes it great. That's what makes it great, and
no doubt.
You go on from there, but there's no doubt about it. What to me, Oregon's fan base and the money they're putting into the university and the facilities, like, it's amazing how much Oregon has changed, where it's now completely one of the blue bloods in the country. I mean, it is one of the blue blood teams, and it's no different than Ohio State or Texas or Georgia or Alabama. Like, it's a blue blood, and I think that that's so interesting because that was in the 90s. That was like an emerging program under Chip Kelly. Obviously, it was an anomaly that they became a powerhouse. Then they just kind of most of the time are good, and now it's just with what they're doing is just whole next level. Like
It is,
yeah, their
dude.
facilities, it's crazy.
Dave, bro, I'm telling you, where Oregon really, I mean, you talk about blue buds, just talk about the West Coast as well. They're taking over USC recruiting. They're taking over UCLA. They're taking over UW, Washington State. They're taking over all that stuff. They were good every now and then back in the day, but they weren't consistently good. And what got them to where, and I truly believe this, was marketing. When they started wearing different jerseys, you know how young 18-year-olds, hey, remember at your combines, you know, they loved it getting like a tight fit jersey and having red or having yellow or having green. You know what I'm saying? So now Oregon says, hey, you know what? We're gonna go to the youth and we're gonna switch up our jerseys. And you know how it is, like Dion Sanders says all the time. You feel good, you play good. You play good, you get paid good. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they did from a recruiting standpoint. Nobody wanted to go to Oregon. Where's Oregon? It's in the Northwest. It's a beautiful area, gorgeous area. But they got rid of that whole traditional wear this color, your socks have to be, you know, calf high, knee high. No, go ahead and be you. You know what? Today we're going to wear all yellow. Tomorrow we're going to wear all green. The next day we're going to mix it up. We're going to have these crazy helmets. And everybody at first was like, all the traditionalists were like, what is this going on? Next thing you know, Under Armour at the University of Maryland, they caught on and they started doing it. And they're starting to get some players. But that I truly believe the marketing aspect and the ability to wear different jerseys, man, they were stealing guys from all those, from USC, from UCLA, all those West Coast schools. And then don't even mention like Texas and Oklahoma and schools that normally would get those guys.
No doubt about it. Ohio State, there's a lot of, by the way, before I go to Ohio State, I saw that they're actually looking at what Dan Lanning did to see if that loophole, they're investigating that loophole. See,
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, like, leave that part of the game. Like,
Yeah.
yo, if you figure that out,
right,
yo, you're the man.
Dude, how is this guy going to not get in trouble, but now we're all of a sudden changing the rule because this guy found a little loophole? Come on, man.
They made. I wouldn't be shocked if they didn't change it. I think they will.
I agree.
So the other thing is Ohio State. So Ryan Day is getting like some scrutiny because even though he's barely lost as a head coach, right, he's lost to Michigan and he's lost, you know, some bigger games like this game, and he's getting some criticism, I think, kind of unfounded, but yes. But I do understand it in the sense that they have the highest paid payroll in all of college football.
They get paid.
They raised $20 million to pay players, which is more than anybody else. And their players are getting paid supposedly more than anybody else. So that's where the scrutiny comes in. Yeah. What do you think about the end of the game when Will Howard ran and that decision there? Like, should he have known as a quarterback, should he have known that as soon as he took off, he's only going to be able to take a couple of steps, maybe get a couple of yards closer because of the time frame? He had 6 seconds. Like, as a quarterback, what's going on in your head there at that time?
It's a great question, bro. And I'm going to give you a prime example. Jaden Daniels with the Washington Generals. He did the same thing.
Commanders.
Commanders. Generals. They change your name every other week.
I love the Jersey Generals. I remember those.
Oh, yeah. My bad. Commanders. I mean, the Redskins, the Commanders, the Washington team. Like, but anyway, go ahead. This dude, 2 weeks ago, he had the same scenario pop up. And he, instead of running for a potential first down, he ended up throwing it just to get field goal range because he knew they had one timeout left. And instead of running it for the first down, which would have taken longer, he threw it. Bam, they got down like 1 or 2 seconds left. And, Washington football team, let's just be generic there. But the Commanders, they ended up winning the game. But to your question, yes, he should have known that. He should have been put in that situation. It goes back to the whole, we all know this, man. If you've coached football at any level, at a higher level, I should say, whether it's high school, college, arena, whatever, junior college, or, just high school in general,
right.
at a high level, you know what I'm saying? You put these guys in these situations, dude. And Dave, I truly believe that he should have known, either just throw that ball in the dirt or do whatever you need to do, but don't waste time running. That's some old school 1998 type stuff where you're just trying to keep running. No, understand the situation. And that's why so many practices now always have, especially in your quote unquote jog through. Damn, I'm doing a lot of air quotes today. I'm going to stop that. But anyway, those you do those situations so you can talk about it, but also have a little bit more up tempo with the rhythm, but then coach them because, when the game now has changed. It's all about tempo. It's always been about rhythm and tempo on offense. But now it's total tempo. Eventually you'll get in a rhythm. At least that's how I interpret it. And I truly believe he should have known. And if he didn't know, that is a big black mark on Ohio State's coaching staff for not putting him in that situation. You always like to learn in those situations with wins, but they're going to learn the hard way with a big time loss that is going to hurt them severely.
Yeah, I mean, so they didn't drop much in the polls. They dropped the 4, which
Right.
shows that they're probably in a good situation. But it's interesting to see. And now Texas obviously stands alone as number 1. What they did to Oklahoma, they hammered them. Oklahoma's a good team, but they don't have the offense to hang with Texas.
No.
What I thought was interesting was the Alabama-South Carolina game. Alabama barely won that game. And what was the final score?
It was 27-25, if I believe. Something like that. 28,
South Carolina,
yeah.
South Carolina went for a 2-point conversion at the end of the game. They didn't get it. Then they got the onside kick, but they didn't end up scoring. South Carolina is 3-3. Alabama is 5-1.
Mm-hmm.
But Alabama seems to really have, to me, either they're not quite as good, or they seem to have some consistency issues going on there. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's interesting to see. Alabama is not quite Alabama of the past. Now it's only obviously the new coach just took over. But it's interesting because you're used to Alabama just taking care of business, and only the big games are that kind of a situation. But what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, here's my take on Alabama right now, and not living in the deep South, and I don't know, people don't even consider Florida the deep South, but you get a lot of SEC games down there. I mean, they consider it New York moving down south is what they
right.
Either that or Ohio moving down south in the Midwest. My point is this: I haven't seen enough of Alabama, but I've seen a few games, and I truly believe what they're missing is that dominant interior line. I don't see them like just dominating the interior, like just pushing guys around. Hell, they only averaged basically about 3.5, not even that, somewhere around like 3 yards a carry this last game. And that's with all the backs, bro. That's not Alabama football, man. They're used to 5 to 7 yards a carry. You know what I mean? And I think they're trusting Jalen Milroe, and this is going to hurt this guy in the long term. Hell, he threw 2 picks. He was efficient, 16 to 23, but he threw 2 picks, man. And I just think they're counting on him way too much. And he accounted for 36 yards of the rushing, and they didn't even barely rushed. I don't even know if they rushed for 100 yards, to be honest. That's not Alabama football, bro.
Yep.
That is not Alabama football. Alabama football is downhill, and then on the defense side of the football, we're going to come after you. We're going to beat you up. We are going to hurt you. Even if we lose, you're going to feel us, and you're going to hurt the next day.
It feels like to me that they're trying to use Jalen Milroe like Auburn used Cam Newton back in the day.
He's not him.
I just don't see he's a great athlete, great player, but Cam Newton was different level special with running the ball and the arm to go down the field consistently. That is a lot to ask because Cam Newton basically touched the ball, whether it was running or throwing, like 80% of the game, maybe more, maybe 90%. That's a lot to me to put on a quarterback now. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was going to say this. Jalen Milroe is not 6'5", 250. He's like 6'1", 6'2", 225 maybe. 230 at the most.
That's I don't know what the size is. Okay.
Jalen Milroe is a guy that you can get on the edge and use him. So what defenses have learned to do is understanding that Alabama doesn't have the same interior from a lineman standpoint. Hey, you know what? We're going to take away Jalen running outside, and we're going to make him go up in the middle and make him hand it off, and let's see if they can beat us that way. And it's not going to happen. They need to, if they're going to run downhill, Alabama truly needs to almost get in the 2-back set, however they need to motion, however they need whatever personnel, if they need to go in, 12 personnel, 13 personnel. You know what I mean? Hell, even maybe 21 personnel sometimes, and get 2 backs, 2 tight ends, and get downhill. But I don't think they have those athletes in the interior with the size they used to have, that they can just dominate the interior. I don't remember, Dave, and maybe you do, when Alabama rushed for only 100 yards in a game. That's unheard of.
Yeah. Philosophically, I think, relying on the quarterback for your run game, that error is starting to move away. So, every quarterback can run. That's the difference now versus the old days. Every quarterback can run. There was a time period like that Cam Newton time period. Lamar Jackson was a few years after, I think a few years after.
Yeah,
there was that time period where it was basically we're gonna let our quarterback do basically everything. He's kind of like our running back and our guy throwing it, and then running back is secondary. And I think that defensive have learned to stop the quarterback run a lot better than they used to. Mm-hmm. And I think because of that, you could do things, send the guy for the back, bring the linebacker over the top, right?
Sure.
You could do a lot of things that force the quarterback to really be a running back, not be what it was before where he was like a version of a bootleg. Like zone read is basically a version of a bootleg. You read, but you're reading it. The guy closes. They never brought guys over the tower. Rarely they did. The guy pulls. Now he's got one-on-ones with like an outside linebacker or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's different to me than now. Now guys will purposely send the guy to make the quarterback pull so you could go and get over the top on him, right?
Absolutely.
And that's where I think you need a direct running back game without a pull, or it's more of an RPO off a throw versus the QB pull for a run, right? And that's probably where the RPO. But even there, like they're starting to. If I think if I think the running back's really good, then I'm going to force them to throw on the RPO.
Yes.
They're forcing. You can't. Before, when RPOs first came out and when the quarterback run game really first came out, offenses were dictating the defenses what they wanted to do, right? But now, once you understand this stuff and you know the limitations or strengths as a quarterback, you as a defense can dictate what you want them to do. Like if you know they run a lot of RPOs and that's what they're going to hang their hat on, you can force him to throw if he's a weaker thrower or run if he's a weaker run, whatever it is. Same thing with the QB run game. You could force them to have the QB run it. You could force them to have the running back run it. And that's where I think you need a little bit more of some old school downhill run game.
Totally.
Okay. And use the bigger bodies because, you have all these guys that have special purposes now. Make sure you have the bigger body, Nate Newton lineman types that could just drive guys off the ball. You don't need – listen, if you nowadays there's going to be 105 scholarships, right? Recruit the guys that are your run game tackles and then recruit the guys that are more your pass game tackles, right? And then maybe you have some elite guys that can do both. But I think you just like you're exchanging parts in the passing game and the run game, start doing it in the linemen because it makes a difference in the run. If these guys can't tackle anymore, so if you could come downhill on somebody, it's different, man. They're going to have a hard time, and if you're relying on the quarterback to be your downhill runner, I think over time it throws the quarterback off. Now, listen, he runs 7, 8, 9 times, maybe 10 times in a game. But when you're getting to 15 to 20 carries, that's a lot. That's too much, I think.
Yeah.
That's too much for the quarterback because he still has to make his reads. He still use the running back 15 times, 20 times. That's the guy who should have 15 to 20 carries, maybe more. And if you got to use one guy's getting 15, 20 carries, the other guy's carrying 10, right? Use that more because I think you get your quarterback beat up. Yes, they can all run now. Every QB can run. It doesn't mean you have to have him run just because they can all run. It's a value add if you need it.
Yes.
And I think that's the thing that offensive coordinators have to start to shift their mindset into. Let's hammer the run game with our backs. Let's use those valuable assets as the run game and let the quarterback run when needed so we can get some nice – yeah, you know what? Maybe your quarterback averaging 8 yards a carry. You're going to be tempted to say, maybe I should run him more. He's averaging 8 yards a carry. No, he's averaging 8 yards a carry because you're utilizing the backs properly, right?
Yes.
I think that's the key down the line. And if you really want – honestly, I really think that if you really want a quarterback to run the ball, I think – you go and put a bunch of heavy bodies in, and you just let your quarterback take a direct snap. I mean, not the quarterback. I'm saying the running back. Get the running back in there. You use the extra person because it's an extra person now with 11 on 11, right?
Yeah.
If you want to do that every once in a while, but don't beat up your quarterback all game long with that. Right?
No, I there's a lot of things that can be unpacked there with what you make a lot of great points. You make a lot of great points. And I know we're going to hit on this guy here soon, Ashton Jeanty. That's your boy. But because I thought it was going to be a segue to that, but you make too many great points not to
We'll go to
discuss.
that. We'll segue to that after. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. But I don't think that's feasible anymore, Dave, to have like direct snaps and things like that anymore. Like defense coordinators are too smart, and these defenses are now too athletic. You have to have some kind of misdirection, some kind of because the linebackers, the safeties, they're all reading their movement keys, right? So reading the triangles, and everything like that, and guard to guard in the center, and people move this way, that way. That's why people can pull centers now, because if the center is uncovered, sometimes he's going, because these guys are athletic enough in college now and in the NFL, obviously. But what I'm trying to get at is you definitely need some kind of dual threat potentially with a run. Now, I love what you were saying. That's why there's so much to unpack. I love what you're saying about going downhill. I truly believe, like, it doesn't matter if you have one back in the backfield and you're in shotgun. And that's why I was talking about going 12 personnel, even 13 personnel, one back, 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends, all that kind of stuff. You can shift, you can motion, you can by alignment, you can run a tight bunch set with a tight end on one side and then a tight end and a bunch on the other side. And you can now pull a guy and seal and kick and pull and do all these different concepts and run a true power with just one back now, because these guys are so athletic, man. It is awesome what you can do now with these young men, even at the college level, because these guys understand everything that's going on. And then understanding the fact that, hey, if we don't want to run this play to the 1-5, 9 technique, we want to run it to the 3-5 technique or whatever. I'm just throwing stuff out there. Sorry. But anyway, so these quarterbacks are smart enough to understand how to like alert things as Tom Brady does, or can things as John Gruden used to do, but basically audible to a different play and still get downhill with everything. It's just a matter of how you want to do it. And I totally agree with you. The fact that we've got it can't always be a read type of thing, because you're right. They're going to slant and put somebody over the top. That's why now what they do is they'll actually anticipate that, and by alignment from an offensive standpoint, what they'll do is they'll actually have that slant blocked, because they're going to go down, down, down. And if that linebacker, now they'll read that linebacker, if that, like, there's so many different reads. That's the thing, is you have to get in the offensive playbook in order to understand what they're trying to get done. And every week it's going to be different, because if teams are trying to take away, and you got to understand what they're trying to take away and what they're best at and who their best athletes are and how they go about that business, you can now, from an offensive standpoint, dictate what the defense does. But number one, you have to have the personnel. Number two, you're exactly right. Your top running back cannot be your quarterback, like, period. And that's why I love the Ravens this year, because their best running back is no longer their quarterback. You know what I'm saying? I love the Ravens this year.
Helped them. That's a great point. That has helped them tremendously. It's taken the pressure off of Lamar Jackson to have to be the guy in the run game to get big yards. It's and you have to you still have to tackle Derrick Henry. That's hard to do. And when Lamar does run, because of it, it opens him up a lot more. He takes less hits. Yes. Okay. To me, that's part of the evolution of the game. Like, there was a time period where you were just like, my quarterback's basically a running back, and he also obviously throws really well. And in high school, obviously, you're probably still going to do a lot of that kind of stuff. But as you move up the ladder, college and pros, I think that's changing because what has to happen is you need a guy to be able to think, to be able to react, to be able to make decisions. And there's something to be said. Like if his head's getting jarred, or he's already getting sacked, and hit after he throws. So now you're adding an extra 15 hits to him.
For no reason other than he's your best.
Reason.
Yeah.
Dave, I'm gonna tell you like this, man.
Football in high school dictated this, right?
Yeah.
Because youth at first, right? Like people are like, why am I handing the ball? You remember when you were probably quarterback, like you handed the ball off, and the running back was a good running back, and then eventually that became, why are we even bother doing that when he could just take off and run? You know what I mean? Half the time. And that obviously in high school that became the theme as well, which it's still going to be the themes. But what was happening, it was getting pushed up. It got pushed up. And guys were then recruiting guys and making them quarterbacks that were more and more those guys. And yes, there's exceptions like Lamar Jackson that can do it, right? But there's also a lot of guys that could have been very good that got their brains probably scrambled around in college football. And that was going to be the end because they're getting hit so many times running the ball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So look how much Johnny Manziel ran a lot. I mean, even though he came out early, like he was running a lot, dude. Like he was running a lot in college.
And running around crazy. And he was undersized, too.
He was undersized, but that was the time. That time was Marcus Mariota.
Yes.
Manziel, Lamar.
That was that transitional period. Yes.
When Cam Newton did it in 2010, I think it was, everyone's got these light bulbs went off, and they're like, dude, it was brilliant by Gus Malzahn at the time, right? He's like, this dude is like a once-in-a-lifetime guy. We're going to go right to the national championship with this guy, and he was 100% correct, right? And they ran they had a really good running back, but they ran like a model. I think they might have had, I don't know if it was Cadillac or.
Yeah, I think it was Cadillac, actually.
Yeah, or Brown. What I don't know. No, maybe Cadillac was before them. It was. They had some really good backs. They had the rapper's son. I can't think of his name. From Mace. From not Tribe Called Quest. The other group.
What?
Oh God, I can't remember. But anyway, they had these backs that were very good backs. Yeah. They would be 1,000-yard guys, but they were basically splitting with carries with Cam Newton. Cam Newton was that guy, dude. I saw him at a 7-on-7 tournament this summer because he runs his tournament this spring, and he runs his tournaments. I'm standing next to him. The guy is a
De La Soul. De La Soul, bro. De La Soul. That's what it was.
De La Soul.
Yeah.
That's it. But Cam
Gotta
Newton,
love the internet.
You do. Cam Newton was he's standing next to him like, I can't believe how big this guy is. Enormous. Like you can't, like he's like it's like a bigger version of LeBron James. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
He's not as tall, but like same like that build, right? And I'm like, this is like, it's amazing that this is I hate saying it. This is a human being. Like how jacked, he's jacked, lean, like tall. I mean, it was crazy. Like crazy.
It doesn't make sense how somebody can.
I was a scholarship athlete. I'm sitting next to him, and I'm like, we're not in the same physical class. Not even. And I was a freaky athlete. I was a freaky athlete, and he's not in the same class.
Well, it makes you not want to go on the football field because you're like, what am I even doing here? I don't even belong here. Like, but you do.
You do. But you're like, because there are other things that come into play.
Right.
But if you're just saying pure, what would be like your vision of a quarterback that could do everything like you make on video games?
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's like a video game player.
And run a 4-4.
He's like a video game. I mean, that's what he's built like, dude. I can't explain it any other way. He's 100%. Like a video game. And that's probably why he doesn't understand certain things. Like, he says things that are crazy. But I'm like, like, Cam Newton, like, how could you understand it? Like, you could do things
Yeah.
that people cannot comprehend. Great athletes cannot comprehend.
He would be a terrible coach because he'd be like, why don't you just outrun him? Or why don't you just throw that throw? Or why don't you just stand in the pocket? Because 360 is coming at me running a 4.7 with a beeline on my behind. And I can't break that tackle at 6'2", 220. But you at 6'5", 250, you're going to run right through it.
Yes. It's a different person.
And that's why he could run it 20, 25 times a game and still be able to talk.
You know, you could argue, though. You could argue that maybe his NFL career was affected by that.
It absolutely was. 100%. Dave, I wouldn't even argue that. I would tell you for a fact his NFL career, because everybody thought he could take it, and he could take it. And instead of making him a true pocket passer, like not even a true pocket passer, but able to do it, his release was quick, but it was awful. He was so inaccurate because his footwork was terrible. But my man from the Ravens, man, killing it.
You know what I was trying to think? You know what I was trying to think of? Who started it? Cam Newton was really second. You know who started the trend? Who really started? Really started the QB being the back trend? You'll think. Don't go on the internet. Don't go on the internet.
No, hands up.
Think about it hard. He was before Cam Newton. He won 2 national championships.
I was gonna say, 2 national championships.
Won 2 national.
Now you're putting me on the spot here. I was gonna say Cordell Stewart.
No. It's reached. Those guys were, when they were in a triple option, those were anomaly offenses. You know what I mean? Like those, the Army quarterbacks. Those guys are there for specific purpose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm talking about a quarterback who then ends up running, becoming your main ball carrier. I'm not talking about triple option guys like Tommy.
Now, see that even screws me up more.
I'm going to tell you. I'll give you his initials are TT.
TT Tolliver from that I played. No, I'm just kidding.
Tebow.
Absolutely.
He's
100%.
the one that started when he did that. People's mind were blown because you know what, Tim Tebow, not as tall as
that's a great.
He was 6'2", 235, 240. Awesome physical specimen. Right.
Not a great thrower.
No, but they showed you could win a national championship with being a decent thrower.
Yes.
I mean, he threw for 1 million yards, because he ran so well. Right. Same thing with Cam Newton. So though Cam Newton, I think kind of in 1 year took it to a different level, but Tim Tebow was real, and then all the spawn offs, Johnny Manziel, Marcus Mariota, all those guys came after, and Lamar Jackson. There were different versions of the original version, which was Tim Tebow, right? It was Tim Tebow. They won national championship. Then Cam Newton. Everyone's like, "Whoa, that's what we need." That's like 3 of the last 4 national championships. We need those guys, right?
Yeah.
And now you have in the NFL. Now you have in college football guys still kind of doing that with these guys. And I think the game's changed. You look in the NFL. The quarterbacks run when, other than Lamar, and now Lamar's better with Derrick Henry because he doesn't have to run as much. Run when necessary, but not as your occupation. And I think in college football, that's again is going to have to become the thing. Run when necessary, not as your occupation.
Yep.
Because you're going to lose quarterbacks.
Yeah, no doubt. Urban Meyer, he hit the nail on the head. Hell, he was running this offense. Urban Meyer was the creator of all this, in my opinion.
Alex Smith is probably actually the original.
I was just going to say that. That's exactly
actually the original. You're right.
I was going right there, but Tim Tebow was a better version of Alex Smith. He was faster, bigger, stronger. Now, Alex Smith could throw the rock a little bit better.
Yeah, he was a good quarterback in pros.
But Urban Meyer started all that orbit stuff and started all those different zone reads and all that kind of stuff when he was out at Utah. That's how they were able to win 10, 11, 12 games out there at Utah and, compete and go to these big-time bowl games. He took it to Florida and won 2 national championships. Bro, Urban Meyer doesn't get the he's kind of a douche in some ways, with some of the stuff he's done off the field.
Right.
But, respect 100%. I can't believe I just called Urban Meyer a douche. The guy's unbelievable, coach.
Right. We should cut that.
We might want to edit that one. No, I called him that. Oh, well, whatever. Anyway, he's Todd Fitch's boy too.
Was he with him before? Or?
Yeah. I guess they were boys. And that's kind of how Fitch ended up at.
They're all Notre Dame, maybe, right? Notre Dame.
No. Fitch ended up going.
Oh, they're Ohio. Yeah.
Maybe. But
yeah, they're all from Ohio.
But yeah, they're all Ohio boys, and that's why Coach Fitch ended up going up there. Anyway, getting off subject, man. Oh man, I'm gonna get a text from Fitch. He's gonna be like, "You're a jerk." Whatever. But
no,
yeah, man, Urban Meyer.
Urban Meyer did some things that were,
he started all that stuff, man.
Yeah, but offensively and what he came up system wise, and he carried it on at Ohio State. He won another championship doing the same thing. Everyone's like, Barrett's going to be an NFL quarterback, and no, he's not.
No, he's not.
It's just
no, he's not.
Because of the system he runs, the quarterback is like another running back.
Absolutely.
So. But it's and I segue into it.
Yeah.
The prime example is what Boise State is doing with Ashton Jeanty. When you have a back that is legit back, you can't tackle these guys now because they're not practicing tackling from the time they're
that's what I said.
In high school as much. I won't say little kids because I don't even know. Everybody does something probably different at the little kid level. But high school wise, college wise, they're not tackling as much. It's safer. The game's safer. They're not taking as much. And then you get what comes from that is that Ashton Jeanty.
Yeah. Oh shit. You still there? You froze up on me, big dog. You're freezing. Ashton Jeanty. Uh-oh. My man froze on me. Hey, but he is a beast, though. I don't know if you can hear me. He's 5'9", 215. The only thing that's going to kill him is his height. That's what's going to hurt him. Ashton Jeanty in his height is at 5'9", 215. So that's going to be a bit of a concern for these NFL coaches, no doubt about it. Hopefully Dave logs back in. But this guy here, 126 carries, 1,250 yards, 9.9 average, 17 touchdowns. This guy's amazing. I would like to see him being utilized a little bit more as a running back out of the backfield, getting some catches. But I guess they don't need to do that. They will need to do that. And the other thing I'm curious of, how is he in pass protection? Because pass protection is going to be huge in the NFL. Blitz pickup, being able to understand that stuff is going to be enormous when it comes to the NFL. If he can't do that at 5'9", he's going to struggle a little bit. Number one, it's going to be hard to find, with all these big offensive linemen, defensive linemen, whatnot. But with him being able to understand how to do it, he obviously has that size. He's low, compact. I'm sure he can cut guys and help chip, defensive ends and things like that. So it's going to be a huge thing for him. And it's not like Boise State didn't play a bunch of good opponents. They're playing good opponents. So it'll be interesting moving forward, as far as what he's able to do, at the rest of the season. Hopefully, he obviously stays healthy. The other guy, and he should be a Heisman candidate. Until Dave comes back, I'm going to use this opportunity to talk about another potential Heisman candidate. And not a lot of people know about this guy. He's from Syracuse, but the quarterback up there at Syracuse, I'm telling you, Kyle McCord, he was 31 of 42, 346, 2 TDs. This guy is a beast. And I think he can be a sleeper from a Heisman standpoint. It's all going to depend on if they can beat the Yukon Huskies. I'm just kidding, being a homer, as you can tell. But Kyle McCord, his stats for this year are truly unbelievable, with what he's doing this year right now. He's thrown for 2,100 yards in 6 games, I think it is, in 19 tugs. I'd like to see his interceptions go down. He also has, rushes from a rushing standpoint. He's got some ability to move with his legs. He transferred in. And I just think this guy has an opportunity. They're 5-1 at Syracuse. This is a big, big game for him. They play University of Pitt, who's 6-0 right now. So if Kyle McCord, if they can win this game and go to 7-1 and drop Pitt down to 6-1, that'll be a huge thing. He's got touchdowns versus AP top 10 opponents, 7. So this guy, 66 completion percentage. I'm telling you, Kyle McCord and Ashton Jeanty, I think, are 2 guys that can potentially be Heisman candidates. I mean, just talking about Kyle McCord again, he against AP opponents, 7 TDs, 1 pick. Conference, 8 touchdowns, 2 picks, so 4-to-1 ratio. And right now in October, he's 5-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. His rating right now is sitting right around about 180. I'm sorry, misread that. About 140-ish rating. And his career stats, it's pretty awesome to see what he's doing right now this year. And I think he's going to be a great opportunity for potential Heisman candidate. He's from Mount Laurel, New Jersey, 6'3", 220. He's a senior. And then you look at Ashton Jeanty, going back to him, that guy's a beast, period. This guy is doing things that in NCAA history, he's setting records that haven't even been they're unprecedented in some of them. I mean, the guy's averaging 9.9 yards a carry, 17 touchdowns in his first 7 games, I think it is. So it'll be interesting to watch this Heisman race, and I truly believe that these 2 guys.
Am I back on?
Yes, you are, brother.
Can you believe I was going on the tirade, and then
I was carrying us, man. We're live. I was talking about Ashton, and I was talking about Kyle McCord from Syracuse, bro.
Yo, I was I don't know what happened, dude. My internet's gone. I'm up.
Yeah, I don't know, but I just kept it going, man. Kept it rolling. They're gonna be like, "What is this guy talking about?" I was talking about Jeanty and Kyle McCord, dude. I'm a big fan of him from Syracuse. The quarterback.
Maybe they thought I was doing a Rebel Republic episode when I was having my conservative talk, and the government just wanted to shut me down. I was talking college football. I'm not talking any Republican talk right now.
Yeah, that's why they shut you down. Hey, that dude from
They try to hold me down, man. They try to hold me down.
They're trying to hold the man down.
They're trying to get me. They keep trying to get me. Maybe it was because I sent Elon Musk a video message because I was locked out of my account. I sent him a video message. I said, "What's going on?" I said, "Elon, you're busy landing spacecrafts. I can't get into my damn Twitter account. I'm trying to do business." Get his
phone cut off.
Probably got mad. Probably said,
"Oh, well.
You guys got to go." You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
But no, I don't know if I got to say this, but you know what I thought was most amazing about Ashton, and I know I heard you talking about Yukon preview, and I gave my my prediction earlier. I think Yukon will win 28-24.
What are you talking? Which score?
I thought 28. I think Yukon will win 28-24 over Wake.
Oh no, I was talking about Yukon playing. Because I was just trying to fill some airtime right there. Like that's one thing I learned, like being on different shows and everything. So yeah, I was just talking about it. So I switched it because I ran out of things to say about Ashton Jeanty because I mean the guy's a beast, no doubt. But then I went to the guy from Syracuse.
Oh, he's awesome.
The big game. Yeah, the big game is going to be Kyle McCord and Syracuse playing against Yukon if they both go in there because Pitt plays Pitt 6-0 right now, and Syracuse plays them next week. And then we play Syracuse, I think, in like 2 or 3 weeks. Dude, if we both go into that game, like we'll be 6-2, 7-2, and they'll be 8-1. That'll be a huge game, man. And the guy's a beast, bro. I don't know if you've seen him much, but anyway, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, he was the Ohio State quarterback last year.
Yes, he transferred in. Yes, yeah, absolutely. The guy's killing it, dude. He's killing it.
Recruiter.
Yeah, but anyway.
I was gonna say, Ashton Jeanty,
yeah.
You know what's the most? He averages 9.9. Yeah.
He's averaging a first down every time he touches the ball, bro.
That's like that's like what a high school, like a great, when you see like a first team all state high school running back, running back, you'll be like, yo, this is like a first down to carry, like he's a high school running back, right? Like for a college guy to be averaging, I don't care who you play.
Yeah.
Obviously they got a nice offensive line, but it's crazy.
Yeah. It's
literally crazy. The fact that he's averaging a first down a carry. How? Yep. It's hard for me to even fathom. They must be loading the box against him.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got to, dude. They've got to. And I'm not a big believer in what's his name from Travis Hunter. He's a great guy from Colorado. Yes, he's a beast. He's a dog, no doubt about it. But it's more hype I think of Dion Sanders, where this guy, Jeanty, however you say his name,
yeah,
I think he truly is that guy. He is that dude, man. Like he's running through tackles. He's outrunning dudes. My thing is, I would love to see if he can catch more passes out of the backfield.
Well, last year he had 43 catches.
I saw that, and I'm wondering why that is so different from this year.
Well, they probably have to. They probably just hand it to him.
Yeah, they're just like, here, take it.
Yeah, he's averaging more yards per carry than he is per catch.
No doubt, absolutely. Yeah, the guy is a stud, bro. He's absolutely a stud. And I was just looking up Boise's their freaking schedule. Granted, they didn't play. I mean, Utah State, Hawaii, not known for defense. They beat the crap out of Washington State. Wouldn't say they're known for defense. Portland State, definitely not known for defense. I think that's going to be his biggest dilemma as far as winning the Heisman. They play Wyoming, they play Nevada, they play San Jose State. Their schedule is extremely weak. Oregon State.
1 million yards against Oregon, didn't he? what did he run for against Oregon? He ran for 150 or something against Oregon. He's just like Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders
I
played
agree.
Oklahoma State. Yeah, I'm different
Yes.
style of runner, but I'm saying like as far as production, like insane, like absolutely insane production.
Yeah, the guy, he's amazing. I'm not taking anything away from any of that because what he does and is doing is just, it's not normal.
What do you think about Dion Sanders playing now he's hurt. He got hurt, I guess, in the game. They're playing him so many plays. Again, I think
You talking about his son?
That Dion Sanders plays Travis Hunter so many plays. You playing on both sides of the ball? Like, I think that's like, it's one thing to like, you could let him play some of the time on one side, like time and a half, but I like both every single snap. I just think in the long run, you're just wearing a dude out. Like it's not even if it's feasible for the player to do it because he's such a good player and he can do it.
Yeah.
I just think that you're
killing the guy,
hurting him, right? You're gambling with his career, and let's take that out of it. Let's take the career part out of it. When you're playing that amount of snaps in college, like you're opening yourself up to injury because you're not going to be able to go all out every single snap when you're playing both sides of the ball.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think. Okay, so I've got a couple thoughts here. Some about Jeanty and then about this. I completely concur with you, bro. Second semester word, concur. But but I am concerned. You like that the use of that. You're right though, because he has been known to be injured in the past.
Oh, yes. I don't know that.
Yeah, when he was at Jackson State, he got hurt. And missed a lot of games. So you would think Dion would be a guy that would be kind of aware of this and sentimental towards him, so he can get paid because this kid doesn't come from a lot. And it seems like Dion has an affection for him in a good way, obviously, to where he wants him to do well, but it's almost like he's trying to make him win the Heisman as opposed to allowing him to win the Heisman. Does that make sense?
Yep. Forcing the voters forcing the voters to like get on board with it. You know?
And I think it would be because of Dion and all this publicity that Dion is promoting and everything like that. Hey, tons of respect to Dion, bro. The guy loves his kids, and I'm not talking about his own kids. I'm talking about his players. The dude loves his players. You can tell that. He's sincere. It doesn't matter if you're white, black, rich, poor. Dion truly is about his guys, and he will support them. And I totally love that about him. It's awesome to see. But at the same time, that love and passion and his wanting of Hunter to win this this Heisman, I almost think it's kind of selfish on Dion's part, because at the end of the day, it should be about what's best for the team. And if that's what's best for the team, bro, you're hurting the team because you're also hurting this kid Hunter, man. You're, like you said, you're putting a lot of tread on those tires, bro. And he gets to the NFL, man. I think this guy needs to start locking in on one position. He's already shown that he can play all positions. So let's lock him in on one position and use him sparingly, like maybe 10 to 12 snaps on offense, and then use him on defense or vice versa. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think your opinion is valid. So I think that I see. I don't know Dion well enough to really judge it, but
Yeah.
I don't. I do think it's selfish, and I'm not sure. Like, I think he has the players he likes, but I mean,
Agreed.
I don't know. I don't know enough to know. I really just I don't know him. I don't. I only
That's well said, though, Dave. That's well said. Yes.
yeah. It's hard for me to really make a judgment on it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. No, I
I'm
do.
like the media. Like if you watch the media, people are on one side or the other. I really know. Let's put it like this: college football coaches in general, like. I don't know whether Dion loves his players, doesn't love his players. I'm sure he does love his players. I don't know if he is all about them or something. I don't know any of that stuff. But
Yeah.
I would say in general in college football, like I don't buy that the coaches like their players, but I don't buy that it's all about the players anymore. So and I think that's any college coach, other than some that are the exception. Do I think they like their players? Yes. Do I think they want? I think they want them to succeed. Yes. But
Sure.
I don't think that the relationship is so in depth that if the player, because of transfer portal, all these different things, that in most cases the relationship is so in depth that if something happened, they wouldn't turn on the player. So I don't.
Ooh,
Um,
that's a good point.
the
That's
environment doesn't dictate it, right? I think
yeah.
now the environment dictates. Whereas before, like when we played, I think coaches can be dicks and all that kind of thing. But I think for the most part, they tried to care as much as they can about the individual, the players, and
Yeah.
their well being more than maybe not. Now other people might argue differently, but now I think there's no incentive for that. There's no
Yeah.
incentive, and so I think the coach that is
Huh.
going out of his way from that standpoint with the players is probably more of the rarity versus the norm, in the sense that it's really about my next job. It's about my
Yeah.
success, and the players are kind of a little bit of a pawn in that environment.
Yeah.
Always been a pawn in it to an extent, but that's why it's
I
good.
hear what you're saying.
It's good that they do get money, because the way that the world it's incented now, like the, it's much more of me
It's a
first.
selfish world right now.
Yeah. So so but that's kind of my thoughts on it. I think Yukon, you're 100% right. There's an opportunity there, man. Great
Yeah.
opportunity for Yukon to really go to a whole different level.
They could go to a really good bowl game this year. They
Yeah,
potentially I was saying this to Steve Cully. I said they could potentially win 9-10 games this year.
that's craziness. But yes,
Right?
considering where they were, like they could literally be like
Yeah.
the big story of the whole entire college football.
Or they would be one of the
One
stories,
of the
like
big
turnarounds.
yeah, one of the big stories, right?
No, I was gonna say the big story. I mean, there's some.
Oh, right.
I mean, we've talked about a couple of them with Jeanty and what I mean. I'm gonna tell you this. I hate saying I mean, because every time I watch a TV show and on like either Get Up or Sports Center and somebody says I mean, that's just wasted words. It's stupid. But where I was going with this is I think Syracuse is going to be a big big turnaround. Pitt is right now undefeated. Yukon has a chance to. That loss against Maryland just shows you how they were not ready, or they were unprepared, or they were just not focused. I don't know. Losing to Maryland 50-7 blows my mind, seeing what Maryland is right now. Maryland, I think, lost to Navy. Was it
Right.
Army, Navy? Like
The Army are undefeated. How about that? They could potentially go to the playoff.
yeah, absolutely. How about that? Right. You're exactly right. I
I'm
mean,
rooting for that.
granted, we did beat Merrimack in this win streak that we're on, but I mean, we're blowing teams out. We beat Temple. Temple's not a bad team. They're not great, but they're not bad. This Wake Forest game, I love your pick there, like 28-24. I think it could be right around that. It's got to be around that because I don't see us scoring unless our run game is hitting and our offensive line can take control, which I think our right side of our offensive line is not very good, especially our right tackle. And I hate to point people out, but honesty is honesty, and the truth is what it is from that standpoint. I think we have a chance with our run game, and then if we can make some plays in the passing game with Skylar, man, we got a chance to really win that game. I think we can beat Rice. Georgia State, we better win. UAB, we should win, and then we play Syracuse the weekend of Thanksgiving.
That's unbelievable,
dude. They could easily go into that Syracuse game with 2 losses. If they beat Wake Forest, that's the big game. They beat Wake Forest. They should beat Rice. Should beat Georgia State. Should beat UAB. And now you're looking at where they're 4-2. That's 3. That's 7-2. If they beat Wake, that's 8-2. If they lose to Wake, they're 7-3. So yeah, you're truly looking at a potential 10 wins. But I know we got a little off track there with the Yukon talk, but we got to talk about your alma mater a little bit.
Yeah.
How do I get a different angle like you, man? What do you got? Like 4 cameras set up, bro? Or are you like talking now? You camera A, camera 1, camera 2.
I'm on my phone, right? So I was before I had a camera, my computer, but
yeah,
using my phone here because I got logged out. You know what I mean?
Remember that from Austin Powers? Camera 1, camera 2,
camera 1,
camera 1, camera 2.
Austin Powers, great movie. I miss the comedies of the old. There's no comedies anymore, dude.
Not like they used to be, right?
No, man. Like, can we just laugh? Like, we can't laugh anymore.
No, everything's so serious. It's either scary movies or some kind of drama.
Yeah,
there's no more Chevy Chase and
everything's like offensive, like
no. Yeah, you can't,
because everything has some sort of like.
Dude, that's why I love Bill Burr.
Bill Burr's great.
Oh my gosh, I think he's like one of the few white guys that can truly talk racism and get away with it.
His wife is black.
Oh, so he's like the other dude. I forget his name, but there's another white dude.
I don't know if that allows him to. But...
You have to marry a black woman in order to be able to, bend the, But
oh, sorry, my setup. Oh, there we
go.
You're good. Yeah. So
I love this. This is like going way back to the dungeon kind of days.
The dungeon days. The like Caddyshack,
Jesus.
Jeez, Wang, it's a parking lot.
I got a pool and a pond. Pond would be good for you.
Wang, you're taking pictures. It's a parking lot. Hey, Wang, I think it's a restricted club. Don't tell him you're Jewish.
Hey, I'll take.
When he said that,
oh my God.
That's like the first 2 minutes of the movie. I'm like, I couldn't stop laughing.
That's hilarious.
I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And all the nicknames are all like
those, 2 of these. Hey, whoever buys this, you must get a free pocket of popcorn or something.
A free bowl of
whatever. He goes, hey, it looks good on you though. Dude, that's hilarious. And then I remember when he's teaching him, Chevy Chase is teaching the caddy. He goes, the caddy hit it with his blindfold on, and he says, "That's okay. The people need janitors too, or something." Like
that. The world needs ditch diggers too.
Yeah, the world needs ditch diggers too.
Oh, I watched that movie so many times. I like when they when he's walking down the caddy's with Chevy Chase, and he's walking down the hill. He's like he's like Denny. He's like, no, Danny. He's like Denny. He calls him like the fucking. He's like, Kenny. He's like, okay. He goes. This isn't. This isn't Russia, is it, Denny?
Yeah, he goes, this isn't Russia. Is it Russia, Denny?
Is this Russia?
Dude, that
like, you mind if I play through? He's like, yeah, you know. And then Bill Murray's like, yeah, you know, like I made my own grass. It's like across.
Oh yeah. Cannonball.
Grass and sense of me.
You take
that movie's the great.
You hit a shot, then you just pick it up and you smoke it.
Yeah. You play 18 holes on it, and then you go right ahead and smoke it. He's like, oh, that's a big one. That's a big. He's like, oh my God.
That's too funny.
And then I love that. The greatest is when this is a great one. So remember, he's with the girl, the blonde girl. Chevy Chase with the blonde girl.
Oh yes.
And she's
at
like
the piano.
He's like, she's like, oh, we're you in a war? And you were in a war? He starts limping, right? He starts limping. He's like, no, homo.
I'll tell you, there are so many.
He's limping like he's telling you, like he's gonna say, like he's got a bad leg or something.
Yeah,
he says, no.
He's out of his mind.
He was out of his mind. Chevy Chase was out of his mind, dude. So was Rodney Dangerfield. They were so great, dude.
They said that they didn't like each other. Like, I guess a lot of that, the Bill Murray and Chevy Chase couldn't stand each other. And Rodney Dangerfield was kind of in the middle of both of them.
Oh, really?
But they said they freelanced a lot of that stuff, which you could tell they did, because that stuff, that's one of the funniest movies ever.
Oh my God! How about when Bill Murray has the kid up against the fence?
Oh yeah,
he's got like a pitchfork in his neck, and
hey llama,
I have a little bit of something for the effort.
Yeah,
like, well, there'll be nothing this time, but on your deathbot you'll get eternal consciousness. So I got that going for me, which is nice.
With a pitchfork.
He's got like a pitchfork up to him. He's like, oh my God, that's oh my God,
it's. I might actually have to watch that tonight, man.
Ronnie comes to the party and they're all mad. They're all mad because he's there at the party. Like he's like, you know, this is how like the times are so different. Like Rodney Dangerfield was playing a guy that was like maybe Czechoslovakian or something, because his name was Shervik. Yeah, and it was, I don't know if it was Czech. It was some sort of like more like unusual Eastern European, you know, like maybe Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, one of those type of names. But like, so he wasn't really accepted. See, those were like underlying jokes that you didn't really know.
Yes.
So his name, right? Like basically they were saying that country club was kind of poking fun. It was really a white Anglo-Saxon.
Absolutely.
No minorities, no Asians, no Eastern Europeans, no Jewish people, didn't let anybody. Nobody. That was like the joke on it. It was joking on those people on how absurd.
And then they had the priest. Remember the priest? He was telling the joke about and like that movie today would just be like
no one would allow it.
No way. Like it would have made it. It would have been like considered like completely faux pas.
The movie would start, and the very first lines when he rolls in his car and he start, you know, with Wang, him and Wang come in, people would be like, they would lose their mind. Like you'd have protests. You would have have protests. You know, like I guess the only reason they're not making fun of like Muslim people because there probably wasn't many. I bet you there wasn't that many. Arabic immigrants back in the 70s yet. I would say it was probably bigger in the 80s and 90s, maybe 2000s that a lot more came over. with all the wars.
I would imagine after the Cold War. I would imagine after the Cold War with all the immigrants and things like that. That's when we started.
But there wasn't there were groups that weren't in that. Were definitely not even in that. They didn't make fun of. Or didn't make fun of yet because there probably wasn't a huge multitude of them in America yet. But that movie, dude, is the freaking. It's so funny. It's so like when he's coming when Ronnie Dangerfield he's dancing and then he grabs Ted Knight's wife and he starts dancing. He's like, "Oh, you must have been something for before electricity. Want to make $5 the hard way?"
Hey, and then she just dances with him. She's like, "You're disgusting," or whatever. I'll tell you that movie has so many parts that just like if you truly love that kind of humor, it's hilarious. 100%.
It's the greatest humor because when to me if you're offending everybody then then it's kind of okay. It's non-malicious humor. It's really just like poking fun of ultimately they're really poking fun of white people. Really the most.
Absolutely. They're making fun of white culture.
White 100%. Culture.
That's rich white culture.
But nowadays that wouldn't even get off the ground. That's how creative they were. Yes. They're actually making fun of white culture.
Yes. And rich people, like how, you're 100%. The establishment, the man, now that we say, the man,
Right. They're utilizing like the way that those, like all their comments and all it's that movie is so brilliant. Yes. I bet you when they made it, they didn't realize, they
didn't realize it.
No way.
No.
They must have known because they had all those guys that it could come out funny, obviously, because you have you had Ted Knight, you had obviously Chevy Chase, Rodney Dangerfield, Bill Murray.
Bill Murray.
Who else was in there? I think those were the big four guys that were that became the big names.
Yes.
In it, but that's those are the four biggest names in comedy. Do you know what my other favorite movie was? You remember when Rodney Dangerfield went back to college, back to school?
Oh goodness, yes.
That movie's so.
Yeah, that is.
Remember
funny.
He had what Sam Kinison was the teacher. He was the history teacher.
Geez. Yes, that's right. And I totally forgot about he was even in that thing as the teacher. Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's taking it back. That's taking it back.
So great.
That is hilarious.
And the guy who plays, I don't know if you watched it. You remember Karate Kid, the blonde guy who plays the back. You know how they have the new Karate Kid again?
Yeah.
So the blonde guy's back in it with Ralph Macchio.
Yes.
And so the blonde guy, in Back to School, he was always the bad guy in all these movies. He was the bad guy in that movie. He was the other diver.
I don't remember that. Oh, I gotta check that one out.
Chaz or Chad or something. Yeah. Chaz, yeah, he was the bad guy. The son wanted to be a diver, and then but he wasn't that. And the bad guy who was his rival was that guy, the guy from Karate Kid. He was that blonde guy was the bad guy in all these 80s movies.
William Zabka. He was Chaz Osborne.
Yes.
I do recall him now. Why was he always such a good villain?
He was a great villain.
A comical one too.
He had the blonde hair and he was
just a corny bad white dude that
yes, a corny I
don't get it.
Those movies, I can't turn it on TV and find anything like that anymore.
No, not at all.
Well, why? Why can't I? Why can't I find some of that kind of just a little Dave Chappelle was really kind of the last guy to kind of do that kind of stuff,
Chappelle, the Chappelle show was, but that's why I love Bill Burr, though. I mean, that's how we got on this. But I love Chappelle, the Chappelle show when he played the blind KKK guy.
Oh my God!
He said, I can't even say what he said. But
No, you can't say what he said. Right. Oh my God! What?
And he's like,
What do you
where is
mean?
that black? Where is that guy? Where is he? Because he took his mask. You want me to take off my mask? You want me to take off my mask? And he takes it off. And
Like, what?
yeah.
Oh,
Like they're at the gas station and he got out of the car and he was with a white chick, I think. And there were two racist white dudes. And he's blind, obviously, and he doesn't use black. He uses the N-word.
yes, right.
Goes, where is he? Where is he? And he's got, dude, Chappelle was off the chain, man. Like, he is
off.
I truly think him, Richard Pryor.
Oh, yeah.
Like, those two guys.
Eddie Murphy was great.
Eddie Murphy was amazing.
Unbelievable.
Yes. I just love the way Richard Pryor and Chappelle challenged, racial things and talk true honesty about themselves.
Right.
Not even like trying to make a skit out of it.
Right.
But they made their personal lives funny. Like when Richard Pryor was talking about smoking crack or whatever, and he's like, so it started to feel good to me. So then I shot another tire out. And then I shot the engine. Dude, Live on Sunset Strip with Richard Pryor was hilarious. Just like Chappelle with his, I just love how they challenged.
When he did those stories with Charlie Murphy and
yes.
Oh my God,
the True Hollywood Story skits.
When I saw the thing after, they said, how'd you come up? He said Charlie Murphy would come over and just sit at the lunch table with us, start telling us these crazy stories, and we're like, holy shit!
And they were real.
Like the Prince one. Oh my God, the Prince one where they play basketball.
Game,
bitches. Yeah. And then after we went back and he served the shirts.
What did he say? Skins versus shirt or whatever he said. Skins versus blouses. Hey, and here's the thing, though, Dave.
Shirts versus blouses.
Yeah.
Shirts versus blouses.
And they said Prince was quoted saying that really happened, and he goes, "Yes, I made him pancakes."
He made him pancakes.
Like, he truly made them pancakes. Like, it was a true story. None of it was made up. Oh, God.
Oh, my God. All right. I guess we could end the show. It was a great show.
It was hilarious.
Oh, people, you got to tune in to College Football Frenzy because you don't know what we're going to talk about. You have no idea. We are going to cover college football. We are going to talk about what's going on, but it's going to be a lot more fun than just that.
It'll be a frenzy.
It's a frenzy. You know what I mean?
In many ways.
All right, bro. I'll talk to you later.
All right, Shu. Appreciate you, brother.
You have a great day.